Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Health Transformers. I'm Becky Longacre. I'm your nurse, gone health coach. And today, this live chat is about identifying whether or not people in your life are emotionally abusive. And the reason why it's important to identify this is because you might not even know that there are some people in your life that are like super unhealthy, and maybe you need to put up some boundaries, put some distance from people so that you can mindfully choose who you have in your life. So, my background is I come from a traumatic childhood where there was abuse of all types in my household. And some of it was emotional abuse. And so that had huge impact on my family dynamics and on me. It ended up to the point where, because I didn't understand how to take care of myself, because I didn't learn that in childhood, it ended up impacting not only my mental health, but also my physical health. And so I am doing this live so that I really love to empower other people to empower themselves, to live empowered. So a lot of my clients, they need help with establishing the importance of self-care. A lot of my clients believe that they can't take care of themselves. They can't put themselves first because they need to take care of everyone else. That could be, a lot of this stems from childhood. And sometimes it's, they feel dutiful to their community. They feel dutiful to their family. They feel dutiful to their church group or their work people. And sometimes they don't have a history of emotional abuse, and it's just sort of like a learned behavior or a habit. But sometimes it is. Sometimes it does go deeper. And so this video is for people that are trying to hash out if there's emotional abuse in their life, and what the effects of it are, and then how it thrives, and then what you can do about it. So, the emotional abuse, so I'm just going to define what it is. So emotional abuse is more than just someone having a bad day. So everyone is going to have a bad day. No one is perfect. Sometimes people snap at each other, or people are grouchy. So that is not emotional abuse. So emotional abuse is a systemic attempt to erode your self-esteem, your agency, your ability to feel empowered so that you are dependent on the person. So it's systemic, and it happens over time. It happens if the person's in your life, it happens over decades. So it's persistent, it's strategic, and it's a systemic way of trying to disempower you so that you are dependent on this person, so that they have leverage over you. So one of the ways that they do this is they exploit your fear or anger. They exploit your fear or your anger. So if you are afraid of purple elephants, then the emotional abuser is going to exemplify the purple elephants. And that's a crazy example, but it's true. It's a conceptual example. They're going to exemplify the purple elephants. They're going to threaten you with purple elephants. They're going to make you think that purple elephants are all over the place so that you remain in a state of fear. If you have an issue with police officers or something, or people of authority, the emotional abuser is going to play on that anger towards that the police officers or authority or whatever it is, so that they can get you to agree with them, you agree with them, and then they ask you to do something for them. So um, one of the hallmarks of emotional abuse is it's one way. So they want you to do something. They want you to be somebody. They want you to fit into a cookie cutter shape that fits them. It's not a two-way street. That's one of the hallmarks of emotional abuse. A healthy relationship is going to be a two-way street. A healthy relationship. If someone's grouchy, let's say someone's grouchy. They come home, they're grouchy. In a healthy relationship, you're going to be able to say, listen, I want to hear about your day. It sounds like your day sucks. Don't take it out on me. Or I want to hear about it. Like, can you see that you're like taking it out on me or whatever? The healthy person is going to be able to recognize that. They're going to be able to step back. They're going to be able to do something called apologize. That's what a healthy mutual relationship is. You're able to apologize. Emotional abuser or the narcissist is not going to be able to apologize. They're so they're going to turn it around and attack you, or they're going to rationalize why it is that they needed to lash out on you. It's not their fault. They're not going to take ownership. They're going to say, it's not their fault. I had such a bad day, XYZ. They start blaming you. If only my job didn't suck. If only this person didn't say this to me. If only blah, 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 blah. The excuses can continue forever, but they're not going to be able to take ownership for their own behavior. Healthy relationship, they take ownership for their behavior. Another example of, or another hallmark of emotional abuse is the gaslighting. So for example, if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, any sort of relationship, it can be a romantic relationship, it can be a boss relationship, it can be a friendship, it can be a family relationship. They're going to do gaslighting. So they are going to do the abuse, then you call them out on it, and they're just going to say that didn't happen. That's not true. And then you have to really be confident in understanding that did happen. Like, you have to be able to be grounded in your own reality. And this brings me to my other point, which is another hallmark of emotional abuse is it thrives in secrecy. So when you reach out to healthy people and you are telling them what's going on, it's really, really important for you to get social support in recovering from emotional abuse, because the emotional abuse thrives in shame and secrecy. They don't want you to be talking about it because it makes them look bad. Their image is broken if you talk about it. So finding people that are really healthy, that's really, really important in terms of recovery from emotional abuse. So emotional abuse is systemic, it's persistent, it's strategic. They're trying to erode your self-esteem. They exploit your feelings so that they have leverage, so that they can call the shots. They gaslight you so that when you call them out on it, they're going to say that didn't happen. Okay, these are all hallmarks of emotional abuse. So how you stop it is you stop showing up for the abuse. That's what you do. You stop showing up for the abuse. You stop showing up for the abuser. So for example, what I've done with people in my life is I've stopped taking the phone calls. Or if like with other people, like if I was on the phone with them, and I'm talking about like family members that I've had to distance myself from, on the phone with them and they start yelling, screaming, I'm going to give them a couple of chances. If you don't stop screaming, I need to hang up. If you don't stop screaming, I'm going to hang up. If they continue to scream, hang up. Now, if there's physical abuse, then you might have to take other actions as well, like getting help from the police in terms of protection from abuse order, restraining order, if that's going on. I want you to consider your safety, and I want you to consider, the consequences of letting go and stepping away. And it's very helpful to establish healthy relationships with other people before you step away. That's really, really helpful because sometimes if your only relationship is the abuser, like your world has become so small that your only relationship is the abuser, then if you let go of that person, then you can have like incredible loneliness. And that can be like super, super, super hard. So it would be helpful for you to establish healthy relationships before you put distance between yourself and the abuser. But you stop it by you stop showing up for it. So when you truly understand that someone's an emotional abuser or a narcissist, when you truly understand that, then you no longer expect them to change. When you truly understand that their empathy mechanism is broken, their ability to have two-way relationships is broken, when you understand that, then you let go of this idea that you can change them. And that's empowering. It's really, really sad because perhaps you thought this person loved you. Perhaps you thought that this person would be in your life forever. But when you truly accept that about them, that they're not going to change, then that helps you make informed decisions so that you can live a more empowered life. Once you accept they're not going to change, then you have the option to let them go so you can live an empowered life. So, and like I said, you might have to get help with a protection from abuse order in order to really keep yourself safe. What I'll also say is you might have periods where you put up a boundary and then you want to go back to the person. So that's very common. And this is a hallmark of codependence. So let's talk about that. So we're talking about the emotional abuse, but the role that the victim plays is codependence, which is they don't have the thoughts of their own. They don't have opinions of their own. They defer to other people. So that's the role that the codependent plays in the abuse. Once the codependent takes some time, gets some perspective, gets their own thoughts and feelings, gets their feet under them, and they start putting boundaries up, so they might walk away, and then their feeling of rejection might be activated. So codependents typically they have a deep-seated fear of rejection. So the emotional abuser, let's say you put up a boundary with emotional abuser and you say, I'm not going to participate. This is what I can do. This is what I cannot do. I'm not going to participate in you yelling at me. I'm not going to participate in arguments that are all about power and control. I'm not going to do it. And then they might get inflamed. They might get really angry. And then they might start berating you or calling you names or calling you controlling. And so that might activate something in you that triggers like a shame response, or or some sort of guilt response. So again, they're trying to manipulate you so that you will go back into the relationship or do what it is that they want you to do. Be who it is that they want you to be. So the goal with codependent recovery is I'm going to be okay without you. I don't need you in my life. If you're going to treat me so poorly, I'm going to walk away. And what's going to be really, really important is that you maintain the boundary. That's what's going to be really, really important. You maintain the boundary because they're going to try to trigger you. They're going to try to romanticize things. Remember the good old days. They're going to try to um, set you off. And so the goal is to maintain the boundary. Um, and what I'll say is sometimes the abuser learns and sometimes they don't. What I will say is if they're a true narcissist, they're not going to learn. They're not going to learn from you having boundaries. They're not going to learn from you wanting a mutual relationship because they need to feed on your feelings. That's their need. They have to feed on your feelings in order to regulate themselves. So, if any of this has resonated with you, I invite you to work with me. One of the things that I help my clients with is codependent recovery so that they can have healthier and happier lives. Living in a state of codependence can really, truly affect your health. So, my story is because I felt that self care was selfish. I gained weight. I was flaring on again, off again with ulcerative colitis. I had high levels of anxiety and I had chronic back pain all day, every day, because I felt that to take care of myself was selfish. I needed to take care of everybody else. And it was a really lopsided way of living. I still love to help people. I still love to help people. But I also know the importance of self care now. I also know the importance of having boundaries now. So if this is resonating with you and you are ready to invest in yourself so that you can recover from codependence, I have my information in the description below. My website, you can check it out. My Facebook page, Health Transformers Maine, you can check that out as well. I invite you to subscribe to this YouTube channel for more content like this. Take care.